Well, this is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to do something different for this last week, and today I'm going to talk about some things that I think BTS does the best when it comes to an outsider's perspective and also somebody who's new to the fandom. So it's going to be a little bit different of a video, but I wanted to kind of give my own personal takes. These are my opinions as from what I've seen as somebody who is coming from an outside source, from a very different musical background and an idea of more or less what I think has been some of the things that I think caught my eye, and I think that probably catches a lot of people's eyes. I think the first thing that I think BTS did better than anybody else, and I still actually stand by this one to this day. I think nobody in the entirety of K-pop has a better logo than BTS. And you're thinking to yourself, what? Why is that so good? Because when something is easily recognizable and also something that immediately makes you think, hey, yeah, that's BTS. I think that that's actually something that's very powerful. It keeps it in your mind. How many times, Army will know this, will you see something that you're like, hey, that looks like the Army logo? You know, there's the whole thing like everything reminds you of BTS because the logo is so good. And then what do? They let the fans make their own logo, and all they did is just kind of alter it by swapping where the towers are. And bingo bingo, you got a second logo out of it. That is so well executed, and it is so perfectly well done that it actually truly is one of the most important and impressive things. Something so small, yet something so powerful. The second thing, and it kind of goes along with the first one, is the choice in color for the official fandom. Purple was an amazing pick because not only do you have a very recognizable logo, but then you choose a very effective color. Purple to me is actually a very effective color because I feel like that so many people... Here's two things. I think some people try to go too crazy on colors or they're too mundane on colors. And that happens everywhere. Even at my Target recently. What do we always know about Target? Red and white. Nope, not anymore. Guess what? Now it's brown. Brown and white. There's no color. That's so stupid. And if somebody does pick colors nowadays, it's very, very bright. Like lime green, powder blue, stuff like that. And it just doesn't quite cut across really well. For me personally. Purple is soft enough for it to be like really easy on the eyes. It's very pleasing to the eyes. And then also on top of that, I feel like that it's something that still stands out. Plus, I feel like that it's always been associated with royalty. Smart move. I think the next thing that they did and do the best is their variety show. Run BTS and Run Jin are, I think, are heads and leagues better of just about every variety show that other groups put out. There's a reason why a lot of times when someone requests to watch a variety show on the channel, I'm hesitant because honestly, it's not as good as Run BTS. And I'm not throwing shade at the other groups. It's just, that's kind of the truth. Because we have seen some pretty fun stuff before. And sure, there's been a couple here and there that I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And there have been a lot more that I've tried on the channel that just do not stick at all. I mean, I did Time to Twice, failed. B2B did pretty well. I think they were actually probably the next closest. But if I'm going to be real, Run BTS is just the best. I think that's true. Number 3, for me, the big thing, merchandise. And for those of you who don't know or do know, I study and I analyze merch like crazy. Some of my favorite things are the weird merch. I have a Wootsy rug from 17. I love weird merch. And one thing that I think that BTS does really well is variety of merch. You want a vase? Sure. You want a necklace? Sure. You want to be able to own a bag? Sure. Pajamas? Yeah, of course. Stuffed tunas? Yes. Stuff like that. Then comes the next big thing. Tiny Tan and also BT21, which I think was so effective. I don't think that there is anything that has been more effective in the world of K-pop in terms of merchandising than BT21. Sure, Tiny Tan is really big and they've done like a lot of cute stuff and a lot of really cool material with it, but name me one group that has not taken inspiration from BT21. Yeah, exactly. And I think that right there is just, again, really good marketing. Now let's talk about the other thing that I think is actually also probably one of the most important things. That is one, understanding their audience, and two, marketing. Now, we know that they are pretty big in Korea, obviously. But I have always gotten the impression, as somebody who's new to the group, that most everybody is generally more international. I feel like there's a lot more international army than there is K army. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, let me know. But it feels like that I meet a lot more people that are part of the international side of things. And I think that the idea is that they marketed to them. Look, you can say what you want about Dynamite, Butter, Permission to Dance, working with Coldplay. They understand their audience. That was very effective. I think the crazy thing is too, all of this is personally, when you look at all this stuff, and a lot of it was due to necessity. You have to adapt or die. That's like the old saying. And nobody adapted better than BTS. That's the craziest thing about all of this, is that they were able to adapt. They can't get on TV shows, they'll make their own. Can't get people to make merch, they make their own. You want to, be able to appeal to your army? Guess what? We will, by doing all this stuff. Making things easily recognizable, making things cute, making things very accessible. It's true. Like, it's pretty hard sometimes to find older albums, older PCs. Sure, I get that. But let's be real here. I think that the amount and the quantity that is out there of different things is pretty impressive. Two is that every member, well, this is kind of another part, every member also has had their own solo stuff that they've also been able to push to be able to help grow the brand. That is also very effective. And I think that that's one of the things that has helped sustain their popularity in a lot of ways, especially through military era BTS. And I think some things that I feel like are maybe the most important things that they have ever done is there's two things. One, they are amazing people. I think that's one of the most important things about BTS, is that you can like music of people, and you can like people because they're good people. When you have great musicians who are also really, really good people, it's just an added bonus. So whenever somebody's like, oh man, I wish that there was somebody that could be someone good to, kind of at least look up to as, decent people. You have that with BTS. And I think that's really incredible. Not saying that other groups don't have that, but the truth of the matter is that, again, they did it kind of in the best ways. I mean, we're talking about UN speeches and, visiting foreign presidencies and governments and giving speeches and having the kind of wherewithal to know where to fight your battles as well. And they've done really well at that. And I think that's another thing that BTS has done probably the best. And to me, I think that this is probably the most important things that BTS has done. All this wrapped in, if you are if you're a respectful person, you are going to have a very good experience with BTS and also with ARMY. Now, I've said this multiple times. For a long time, I didn't want to do BTS on the channel because I've been told at how ravenous and rabid ARMY is. And let me tell you, no, that hasn't really been the case for me. And I've said some stuff, and I've done some things that were stupid and could have caused a lot more ire, but that wasn't the case. Most of the time when you see people that talk bad about ARMY, there's a reason why there was that situation with them. And it doesn't It has not been my experience. So I don't understand that part of it. So I don't know. To me, I think that the most effective thing has always been these. This is, to me, that's the thing. I came in from a completely different side, and not only that, not only did I come in as a metalhead and genuinely hated the first things that I heard from BTS. Not only when I got into K-pop, I got in through EXO, which a lot of times I understand that people have a very polarizing view between BTS and EXO and the fan wars and all that other stuff. Not me. I don't have that. But to be real, the amount of times that I've heard about this whole thing has not been my experience. Army has just been very nice to me, and even when I have done dumb stuff, the amount of respect and I would say understanding shown was way better than some of the other groups that I've had on here. There's been some times where I've had some pretty nasty people coming in from other groups and their fandoms, and yeah, so anyway, a little bit of a tangent. These are the things that I think from an outsider's perspective and new to the fandom, I have noticed that BTS does best. Anyway, thank you all so much. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, Victus.